صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك المظلومين المقتلين المجزرين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الأولين والآخرين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا ابن رسول الله. غريب عطشان سليم، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. غريب مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم، فيا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. كم للمتيام من دموع جارية، حزنا على تلك الطلول الخاوية. يا دار غيرك الزمان بصرفه، ومحت محاسنك الخطوب العادية، وأباد أهلك بالصروف فأصبحوا كل يؤم من النواحي ناحية، مثل الحسين على الصعيد مجردون، ويزيد يرفل بالبرود الصافية. لم أنسه ثاو على حر الثرى، وبنو أبيه كالأضاحي ثايا. هيا ثاوية فوق الرماح رؤوسهم منشورة، وجسومهم تحت السنابك عايا. هيا عاريا قد غسلوا بدم الرقاب وكفنوا من نسجهاتي كالرياح السايا. هيا عافية والقاسم ابن المجتبى ما بين وجبينه يزهو كشمس ضاحية، لم أنسه بين الرجال وعمره يا للبرية 85 يردي الكماة بسيفه فتخالهم فوق الثرى أعجاز نخل خاوية، حتى إذا أردوهم القل الثرى بدماء وجنته المضيئة قانية، نادى ألا يا عم أدركني فقد وزعنا أعضاء السيوف الماضية. How many tears the lover's eyes have shed, grieving the ruins where their life has fled. Oh, home, time's trials have changed your face, and hardship swept away your former grace. Your folk by fate were swept and torn, each one now to distant corners is born like Hussein, left bare upon the sand, while Yazid in silks walked proud and grand. I still recall him lying on the ground, while kin like slaughtered sheep beside him lay. Beside him lay. Their heads were raised on spears for all to see. Their bodies were trampled cruelly. Cruelly. Their blood was their only cleansing stream. Their shrouds the winds in death's cold dream. And among them stood Al-Qasim, brave and bright, his forehead gleaming like the morning light. I still recall him barely his age, 5 and 8, 13 years old. Oh people, such a youth met such a fate. He struck the warriors down in bold display, and they fell like trunks of palms which were decayed. His glowing cheeks with crimson blood were crowned. He cried, "Oh uncle, come to me with haste and speed. These swords have torn apart my limbs indeed." Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. فقد ورد عن مولانا سيد الشهداء صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أنه قال عن الموت: ما الموت إلا قنطرة تعبر بكم من البؤس والضراء إلى الجنان الواسعة والنعيم الدائم فأيكم يكره أن ينتقل من سجن إلى قصر. To hasten the reappearance of our 12th Imam, bless our majlis with Allah. Salat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Respected mu'mineen, mu'minat, as we continue commemorating these blessed nights and reflect upon the words of Sayyid al-Shuhada salawatullahi wa alayhi, and we remember the lessons that we can learn from Karbala, one of the most important themes is the theme of death itself. We are talking about martyrs. With that being said, today to talk about death is considered to be a really big taboo, a topic that nobody likes to talk about. If you were to talk about it, you would be considered to be, in the materialistic society, as strange. When our Imam alayhi salam, he explains about death, he refers to death as a bridge. Mal mautu illa qantara. The olden types of bridges that you used to have over rivers, which would have kind of arcs, be made of stone. So he says, death is but a bridge. What does this bridge do? It takes you from so much torment, so much affliction. Affliction of the self, affliction of the body, external things, so those things which are related to you and your body, like illnesses, etc. These types of afflictions, and also afflictions related to your belongings, your relatives, your children, your family, etc. So all of these bala'at. This death, what death does is that it takes you from this state, which is in this dunya, it takes you to what our Imam says, يَعْبُرُ بِكُمْ إِلَى الْجِنَانِ الْوَاسِعَةِ, to vast gardens of paradise. And what? وَالنَّعِيمِ الدَّائِمِ, everlasting bliss and comfort. There is no stopping at that. In this dunya, if me and you want to achieve any comfort, any happiness, what do? We have to work a lot for it. We're going to have to face a lot of trials, afflictions. As they say, even the na'im, the bliss of this dunya, in addition to the fact that it is very limited and the fact that it is not everlasting, it is also full of munaghisat, and things that make you, that kind of pinch you, if I were to say in a certain way, right? That you feel that there is something still to kind of disturb you or upset you still. Even as you're trying to, let's say, walk on the path and gain as much as, let's say, wealth, money as you want, you will have to go through challenges, correct? In the akhirah that death takes you to, the bliss over there is everlasting. Nothing can stop it. So who would dislike moving from a prison, a small prison, to a palace? And this is similar to maybe an imaginative dialogue that maybe two twins can have while they're in the womb of their mother. Is there a world after the world that we're currently in? Thinking, no, first of all, mother doesn't exist. This is the entire world. That's it. Is it possible that there can be another world after birth, after delivery? Can we meet mother? Subhanallah. So this is how a human being is when we are in this dunya and this world. Death is a sunnah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for every single nafs. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ, that every single nafs will have to taste death per se. There's even discussions that, based on some of our narrations, that even all of the angels will have to face death, including Malakul Maut, the last nafs. And with this respect, of course, our scholars, they explain that the death of an angel, because of the fact that the angel doesn't have a body like me and you, correct? As a result, the angel is just spirit, it's just soul. So the angel's death, quote unquote, would be that it would not be perceiving of itself anymore. It's as if in a state of suspended animation per se, correct? This is the death. Because death for everything is according to what it is. Now with that being said, death is a sunnah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for everyone. What is the reason for which I chose this topic today? We have a parable that says, La wa'adhaka al-maut. There is no greater admonisher, no greater thing that makes you, that affects you. No greater thing that admonishes your heart than death. For instance, those of you who watch or follow majalis, and you know of some of the famous reciters. If I'm not mistaken, Sheikh Sha'ban, for instance, one of the really well-known reciters, rahmatullahi alayhi, who had a beautiful voice in reciting Azab. He passed away in the very beginning of this month of Muharram, rahmatullahi alayhi. 2 nights ago, or if I think maybe it was yesterday, wasn't it, that we were reciting Amman Yujibu for the sister, rahmatullahi alayhi. She passed away as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on all of our marhumin. Youngsters, those of you who watch football, today, all of a sudden in the morning, one of the footballers, for example, passed away at a very young age as well. Correct? You feel that death is sudden. The very sentence that I told you over here, none of us can guarantee that you're going to be here tomorrow, maybe even a few minutes after this. None of us can guarantee. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has decreed for each and every one of us an amount in terms of our time and age. As a result, the fact that when we are so engrossed and so taken by the distractions of this material life, even at a young age, Al-Qasim salamullah alayhi, كيف تجد الموت أحلى من العسل. O Qasim, how do you find death? And that night of the 9th, his uncle is asking him. All of us over here, I think we're older than Al-Qasim alayhi salam. 13 years old. He says, oh my uncle, I find death to be sweeter than honey. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam explains the sunnah of death. He says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَحَدًا يَجِدُ إِلَى الْبَقَاءِ سُلَّمًا أو لدفع الموت سبيلا لكان ذلك سليمان بن داود الذي سخر له ملك الإنس والجن. If anybody would have been able to find a staircase to continuously remaining alive, or to do what? لدفع الموت, to avert death, to avoid death, it would have been Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given the kingdom and dominion over all jinn and humanity and humankind. Now, as they say in Bab al-Lata'if or Bab anna shay'a bi shay'i yuzkar, that when you're mentioning something, sometimes you remember another point as well to mention. Al-Khidr alayhi salam, according to differing narrations, of course there's a lot of differing opinions about this fact. However, Al-Khidr alayhi salam is known that he is thousands of years old. And he will continue to live for a very long time. Allahu alam, whether it is that he may be martyred with the army of our 12th Imam, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, or that maybe he will continue up until before the day of Qiyamah. But there is a certain wisdom in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him this specific gift. But life in itself to continue to remain alive and to see all of your loved ones, etc. die. And this is something that our 12th Imam alayhi salam also sees, also experiences. His loved ones loved ones, including all of us. This is something that's really difficult. But coming back to this point, this sunnah in itself, you see, sometimes even as I'm saying this, because this is on the level of ilm al-yaqeen. Ilm al-yaqeen is when a person explains something to you, correct? Now, you may visualize the concept in your mind, but that's it. I might tell you that, listen, outside there is a road, so you imagine a road. The second level is ayn al-yaqeen, correct? For us to take you outside, for me to take you outside and to show you the road. That's the road. And the third is haqq al-yaqeen, for you to actually walk on the road or to drive on the road. Now, I'm not talking about us taking the third stage. That, inshallah, will come with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's own decree. But for us, I'm saying, again with the discretion of the committee, that when there is a ghusl mayyit and preparation of a mayyit happening, it's important for the youth to also participate. With your discretion, of course, and their parents' permission. But I would really advise you to go. As soon as the soul has departed, this is no longer Ahmad or Hussein or Ali or whatever. This is now janazah. This is now an it. Nothing is there. Everything is taken off. Whatever phone you had, latest phone, latest cover, best of apps, I don't know what you used to do, everything is gone. You're only going to have these pieces of clothes, these white ones. If you are lucky enough that you had paid attention, then during your life, maybe you would have bought a kafan for yourself and taken it with you through the different ziyarat, prayed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, blesses you and makes this kafan remain and cover us on the day of Qiyamah. And ask 40 mu'mineen to sign. According to our narrations, whoever gets 40 mu'mineen to sign that this person is a mu'min, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will not hold them accountable with their sins. But if you haven't prepared anything, we haven't thought about it, you haven't thought about anything, I'm still young, I'm under 18. My dear, 18 is a very arbitrary number. It's a matter of you having this common sense. Go back 50 years, go back 100 years. At 13, children used to be extremely mature. Extremely mature. But as things have changed, as life has changed, we find that age of maturity, it takes longer to come. Why? Because there is this certain social system that at the age of 18, that's when you can get all of these responsibilities. You're not put there in life. But what I'm actually calling out to, that based on the vision of Islam, you need to be awake. Today in Palestine, death does not discriminate between a 6-month baby and a person who is in their final stage of life. It does not discriminate. So when this happens, I would really advise you, let the children, let our youth participate and see. This is what it is. This is what we are. However much you go about and beautify yourself, best of clothes, in addition to the best of, hairdressing styles or whatever, it doesn't matter. What's more important is that we have to focus on the inside. I'm not saying that to take care of yourself and groom yourself is not important. It's very mustahab. You shouldn't be scruffy looking, you're a Muslim. But at the same time, this is not the most important thing, that we forget everything else. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. But with that being said, I previously mentioned this theme. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, he explains that, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khuliqna wa iyyakum lil baqa, la lil fana. Lakinnakum min darin ila darin tunqalun. That, all people, we and you have been created for eternity, to always remain alive. However, and not for us to become non-existent, annihilated by death. No, death is not annihilation. But he says the only thing is that we're just going to be moved from one living place to another. That's all. With that being said, we as human beings, sometimes we may fear death for different reasons. For instance, our deeds. Sometimes we're not prepared well enough in terms of our good deeds, doing the wajibat. Maybe we sin, we make mistakes, sometimes intentionally, God forbid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us all. Grant us strength, inshaAllah, to remain on the path, Sirat al-Mustaqim. That if this is the case, yes, you may be very, very anxious about death, afraid about death. So here we need to get our act together. Secondly, sometimes I have imaginations about death because I've watched too many zombie movies. Right? I've watched too many zombie movies or horror movies, etc. So I have different perceptions about death. Khair. No. In this case, what you do is that you go to the books of aqaid, etc. They're very easy to read books for all ages. Just open them up. One book that I would advise you to read is a book by Sheikh Bahmanpur. This is available in English by the name of Towards the Eternal Journey. Towards the Eternal Journey. You can find it on Amazon. It's the book that we worked on. It's a really, really easy to read book with so many riwayat that explain how the journey is from when a person passes away. It's an easy read. It's really, really interesting. And of course, amongst the reasons would be that we will be separated from our loved ones as well. But again, with respect to the akhirah, you can see your loved ones, you can hear them. It's only that there is a barrier between you and them that they can't hear you. Secondly, time over there, it moves in a different speed. It has a different sensation. 70 years over here may pass, over there it's just a few moments. So you will, as you are still being asked, you feel that you've just entered your grave. 2 generations of your descendants have already reached you. Time works in different ways over there. But with that being said, amongst the most important things is that we have to prepare ourselves for death and its agonies, as Imam Ali salamullahi alayhi has asked us to. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. With this being said, remembrance of death in itself, why am I also again mentioning it today? It's because a person who constantly remembers that we are here for a very short period of time, and whatever mission that we have in our lives, by all means, have the best and the highest achievable goals in your life. Do not let other people outdo you. Not that because you're a Shia of Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salam, that you should say, okay, no, it's fine. Dunya is for other people. I will just, suffice with some small thing, etc. I'm not going to be really ambitious. No. Al-mu'min al-qawi khayru min al-mu'min al-da'if. There's a saying that a strong mu'min is better than a weak mu'min. Strong in what sense? Not just the physical sense you go to the gym. In sense of knowledge, in the sense of your working for your financial situation. If there was not this strength, then would we be here today? Right? Alhamdulillah that today Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to many kind mu'mineen and their financial strength and their financial ability and their generosity that we have been able to reach till where we are today. We would like to continue that. So with that being said, our Imam Ali salamullah alayhi, he explains in one of the narrations, and this is, I'm quoting it, I'm paraphrasing it, that اعمل لدنياك كأنك تعيش أبدا. I think this is the exact wording of it. Work for your dunya as if you're going to live forever. Plan. But I'm adding a caveat, which Amir al-Mu'mineen also means. I'm adding a condition. Do not be attached to that which you reap and sow. Do not become attached to it. Ya Allah, if I don't have this specific, let's say, car or house or whatever, then I don't want any. And then when you get it, you become so attached to it that if something happens to it, La ilaha illallah. No, on the contrary. Oh Allah, I need, let's say, for example, a car. You give me this car, alhamdulillah. You give me another car, alhamdulillah. What's important is that I want to go from A to B. That's it. Khair? On the other hand, our Imam alayhi salam says, وَعَمَلْ لِآخِرَتِكَ كَأَنَّكَ تَمُوتُ غَدًا. And work for your akhirah as if you're going to die tomorrow. So be prepared. Be prepared by knowing about death. Psychologically prepare yourself, talk to yourself. In addition to that as well, also work with your good deeds. When a person, if we were to refer to the wasiyah of Imam al-Hassan to Imam Ali salamullah alayhi to Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, he tells him, يا بني أكثر من ذكر الموت وذكر ما تهجم عليه وتفضي بعد الموت إليه حتى يأتيك وقد أخذت منه حذرك وشددت لهؤازرك أو لهؤازرك. أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام, his words, يعني نهج البلاغة. ها؟ إزرك عفوا لها إزرك أو أزرك عفوا. Sometimes even when typesetting happens, two words that get together. ولا يأتيك بغتة فيبهرك. O my son, increase your remembrance of death and of what you're heading towards, and what you will be led to after death, until it comes to you while you have taken precautions against it. You have worked, you have done all of the assessment that's necessary, and strengthened yourself for it. And let it not come upon you suddenly and overwhelm you. So one key lesson is for us to be prepared. Also, when you work and you have this matter in your mind, on the one hand, you will have a certain peace. On the other hand, you will also be objective. You will actually be working according to reality. You'll be living in the actual real world. You are not putting your head in the sand when there is danger around you. Okay? For us, followers of Sayyid al-Shuhada, Salamullahi alayhi, Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, we have to keep this, especially I'm talking to my young brothers and sisters, keep this in our mind. Whatever your age is, keep this always in our mind. طيب. Of course, there are a lot of benefits for a person to remember death. I'm just going, without going into the narrations themselves because time is short. On the one hand, it will save us from wasting time on different distractions. I'm not saying that do not go and, for example, let's say play sports. Sometimes you need to play games as well, right? But at the same time, not at an excess that this is my sole thing. Oh, summer holiday started, that is it. Right now, the fight is between me and my PlayStation. Am I going to become tired first, or my PlayStation is going to become heated first? Right? No. On the contrary, let's keep everything within moderation. In addition to that as well, a person does not become engrossed in their material pleasures, eating, etc. Right? On the contrary, we focus and we take everything according to its need and in halal manners, in halal way. In addition to that as well, there is the khushu' of the heart, humility of the heart, humbleness. This humility of the heart, and subhanallah, humility of the heart comes by us remembering that we are not eternal in this dunya. Even our bodies. For example, you are trying to be proud. A person who acts proud. The question would be, my dear, you and your body are withering. Whatever wealth you have, it's becoming extinguished and being spent. And when you do die, your inheritors will take it. And you are just going to be left with a small coffin or a small tabut, whatever, and you're going to be buried. That's it. What's there to be really, really proud and arrogant about? And tomorrow in each and every one of us, except if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts us among the awliya, all of us, our bodies are going to wither away in the grave. But with that being said, of course, and one final thing, by the way, one key benefit. One key benefit is that when we are in this dunya and we find afflictions, we are faced with difficulties, bala, correct? When Allah tests us, we will not reach a stage in which we start to become angry, God forbid, with Allah. Oh Allah, why are you choosing me? Why do you have to do this to me, for example? Unfortunately, I have seen people with that kind of mentality. Astaghfirullah. On the contrary, you will face all of these calamities by saying Alhamdulillah, Allahumma taqabbal minna hadha al-qurban. Why? Because of the fact that you know it's temporary. And Allah is doing it for a good reason. It could be ziyadatun fi darajat, takfir al-dhunub, etc., etc. It could be due to a lot of reasons. And inshallah, in it will be khair for you. Sometimes you may find the bala is over here, but it's saving you from something worse. Or Allah tests you at this stage to give you something better later on. With that being said, we need to prepare ourselves for death. Preparation for death, first of all, we need to understand that death is inevitable. This is on the mental side, psychological side. We also need to understand how to prepare for different stages, whether it is for sakarat al-maut, whether it is in the grave itself. Inshallah, I will mention some of the a'mal that we can do, inshallah. How much more time do we have so that I can, based on that? Inshallah, we'll continue with this topic, bi'idhnillah, tomorrow. It's a really important topic, inshallah, for all of us to focus on. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Respected mu'mineen, as we continue to the battle of Karbala, and we think about Sayyid al-Shuhada salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, we think about the musibah of Imam al-Hasan salamullah alayhi and his presence in Karbala. Was Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam present in Karbala? Yes, he was. He was present through his sons, he was present through his wife Ramla, Sayyidah Ramla. Al-Qasim alayhi salam, amongst, and subhanallah, it may be for a certain reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has immortalized him so. Al-Qasim can be considered as one of the symbols of the youth of Karbala. On the day of Ashura, he and his brothers were representing their father. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam had a number of sons who were there in the battle of Karbala. One of them was Zayd ibn al-Hasan alayhi salam. He was not martyred, but he did not after Ashura also have children. Amongst them was Al-Hasan al-Muthanna. Al-Hasan al-Muthanna, yani Al-Hasan Jr. His name was Hasan ibn al-Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. He was severely injured. However, his uncles from his mother's side saved him from being killed in the battlefield of Ashura of Karbala, and he was as a result saved. He was not with the captives and the caravan of the captives of Ahlul Bayt when they were taken and paraded around. He was nursed in Kufa until he got better, then he was sent back to Al-Madinah. In addition to that as well, we also had Ahmad and Amr ibn al-Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, and they were amongst the fighters with Imam al-Hasan with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They were amongst the shuhada. In addition to that as well, we have one youth, one son of Imam al-Hassan that you may not have heard a lot of. This is Abdullah ibn al-Hassan alayhi salam. He comes to his uncle Imam al-Hussein when Imam al-Hussein was now laying on the ground just before his own martyrdom. Imam is severely wounded with so many spear wounds, wounds from stones and rocks that have been thrown at him, and piercings of spears in his neck. So many arrows in the body of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. At that, as they wanted to now kill Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Abdullah ibn al-Hassan, he was looking from near the tents. Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, she was there as a guard for the children. He rushes from beside her and escapes to his uncle. Sayyidah Zainab is not able to stop him. He reaches the side of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and as he goes over there, he sees one of the cursed ones wanted to come and strike and hit Imam al-Hussein. He tells him, Ya adu Allah, awa tadribu ammi, that, oh, the enemy of Allah, do you want to strike my uncle? At that, this mal'oon, this cursed person, he struck the child with his sword. Abdullah ibn al-Hassan, he defended himself from that strike with his hand, and all of a sudden his hand became cut and hanging only by its skin. At that, he let out a scream. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he embraced this young Abdullah, and he tells him, Ya ibna akhi, isbir ala ma nazala bik, fa inna Allah yulhiquka bi abaik. That, oh my brother's son, bear patience for what has happened to you. Very soon you will go to your forefathers. And as he was being embraced by Imam al-Hussein, Harmala la'natullahi alayhi struck him. He strikes him with an arrow, and this child is also martyred after Abdullah al-Radiya Ali al-Asghar in the hands of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Amongst the martyrs from Imam al-Hassan's children was Abu Bakr ibn al-Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. He was also said to be martyred while he was fighting amongst the army of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. At one point he becomes so thirsty, he comes to his uncle and he says, Oh my uncle, is there anything for me to drink so that I can gain some strength in order to fight against these cursed ones? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam tells him that, oh my brother's son, bear patience, for very soon you're going to be going to your grandfather, who is going to give you a cup to drink from, after which you will not become thirsty ever again. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, after all of the fighting able children of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam have been martyred, now who remains? Al-Qasim alayhi salam. He comes to his uncle in order to seek permission to go and fight. Al-Qasim alayhi salam, he was very young. Imam al-Hussein salamullah alayhi, it is narrated that in the night of Ashura, before the day of Ashura, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam initially did not count him amongst the shuhada. At that, Imam al-Hussein wanted to test him, it seems. So Al-Qasim alayhi salam, he comes to Imam al-Hussein and he asks him, why is my name not amongst them, oh my uncle? He asks him, the Imam asks him, Ibn Akhi, كيف هو الموت عندك? That how is death in your eyes? How do you find death? He says, اعلم يا عم أن الموت عندي بين يديك أحلى من العسل. That know, oh uncle, for me to sacrifice my life for you is sweeter to me than honey. On the day of Ashur, he comes to his uncle, having seen a wasiyah that his mother gives to him. It is narrated, it was a letter from Imam al-Hassan to Al-Qasim, saying, Bunayya Qasim, My son, O Qasim, if you see your uncle on the day of Ashura by himself, then do not waver nor hesitate in coming to support him. Imam al-Hussein embraces al-Qasim now, and he helps him put on his helmet, and he prepares him with his father's amama, and he tells him to go and bid farewell to his mother and his aunts. Al-Qasim comes towards the camp in order to bid them farewell. Zainab embraces him, smelling the scent of Al-Hassan from the tents. With shock his mother calls, for this time I have been saving you. This is lisan al-hal. For this time I have been saving you. Do not disappoint me, O Qasim. Your uncle, I want you to go to aid him. Al-Qasim, lisan al-hal, shakes his spear, saying, Oh mother, please pray for me. Without you ordering, I am leaving. I would not have waited for you to tell me. I by myself wanted to sacrifice myself for my uncle. My uncle is alone in Karbala, so for whom should I save my life? But oh my mother, I have a wasiyah, please do not forget it. By Allah, please remember my youth. The Madloom Hussein came with Al-Qasim, as Al-Qasim's face was shining, moving from tent to tent, asking and bidding farewell to them. It is as if they were bidding farewell to a groom. Aris Karbala. It is as if they were bidding farewell to a groom. The women came out, lisan al-hal of Al-Qasim as he is now bidding final farewell to his mother. It is recited in the Arabic majalis. Yumma dhikrini min timur zafat shabab nil iris mahrum حنيتي دم المصاب شمعة شبابي من يطفيها حنيتي دمي والجيف انذار التراب يما ذكريني من تمور زافت شباب. Mother, remember me when you see a youth's wedding, deprived from wedding, my hinna's blood of Musab. Candle of my youth, who will turn it out? My hinna's my blood, my kafan sand of the ground. Mother, remember me when you see a youth's wedding. As now Al-Qasim, he gets on the horse. His uncle has helped him get on the horse, but he is so small in his stature. Al-Qasim alayhi salam takes by the reins of the horse and he goes towards the battlefield reciting verses of poetry. Yes, many of you know these verses of poetry. إن تنكروني فأنا نجل الحسن صبط النبي المصطفى والمؤتمن هذا حسين كالأسير المرتهن سقوا صوب المزون. If you don't recognize me, I am the son of Hassan, grandson of Al-Mustafa, the trusted one. This is Hussein held like a captive hostage. Among people I prayed to never drink again from rain. Hamid ibn Muslim says that a youth came out from the camp of Imam al-Hussein, and he looked to have such a bright face. It's as if it was the moon itself. And he was wearing a qamis and izar, and he had also a sword with which he was fighting. And even though he was very young, but he was fighting with such bravery, and he was able to fight and fend off so many of the cursed enemies that he sent them to Jahannam. At that, Hamid ibn Muslim says, as Al-Qasim was fighting, all of a sudden I remember that from his left sandal, one of the strings became cut. So not caring about the enemies around him, Al-Qasim goes down to mend the string of his sandal. But with treachery, one of the cursed ones, عَظَمَ اللَّهُ لَكُمُ الْأَجْرِ, he comes and strikes Al-Qasim over his head. And he strikes him so deeply, his head starts to gush with blood. Al-Qasim embraces the horse. As he embraces the horse, all of a sudden Al-Qasim is surrounded, and all of the enemies start to hit and strike him. As he falls to the ground, Al-Qasim calls out, Amma Aba Abdullah Adrikni, Rahim Allah man nada wa sayyida wa qasima wa qasima. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, as he quickly comes towards Al-Qasim, and he sees Al-Qasim shaking his feet. He sees Al-Qasim shaking his feet. He tells him, Bunayya Qasim, Azza wallahi ala ammika an tad'uhu fala yujibuk, aw yujibaka fala yu'inuk. That, oh my son, oh the son of my, oh Qasim, it is so difficult for your uncle that you should call him and he is not able to respond to you, or that he should come to you but he cannot avail you. That, oh my son, oh Qasim, as Imam Hussein alayhi salam is at the side of Al-Qasim, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam sees this young boy. All of a sudden, نَعْظَمَ اللَّهُ لَكُمُ الْأَجْرِ, Al-Qasim, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. They bring the body of Al-Qasim towards the camp, towards the tent of Shuhada. Imam al-Hussein lays him beside the body of Ali al-Akbar, looking at the body of Ali al-Akbar, looking at the body of Al-Qasim. He sheds tears for his brother's son Al-Qasim. When his mother hears the commotion, she comes out saying, Allahu Akbar. Oh son, oh Qasim, I come to smell your sand, and with my tears to cleanse your wounds, and with my tears to cleanse your wounds together. Your wounds, I said, oh one whose mother I pray remains not any longer in life. My heart remains hovering about you. My heart remains hovering about you. تقضي على شاطئ الفرات ظمان، والماء أشربه صفوان بلا كدر. O son, by the bank of Furat you die thirsty, whereas I drink water sweet without any bitterness. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون، والعاقبة للمتقين.